Now we'll do it. Welcome everybody to another episode of Cody Underground, the Trading with Cody live stream Q&A. Go to tradingwithcody.com and sign up. You can see all of my trades, all of my positions. I've got a bunch of long-time subscribers. We're talking about 15, 20 years. And we got a nice little community chat room. Go in there and talk to them. I'll take a lot of questions today from that chat room. And I will also take questions on a conference call number that I sent out to Trading with Cody people. And turn off that fan. You mind hitting that other fan, Piper? Cross noise. Well, let's look what the markets are doing, because I haven't looked in an hour, and they very well might have moved 2% up or down since the last time I looked. And boy, it looks like we are having a lot of gyrations indeed today. You know, volatility begets volatility. And, you know, what was it, maybe 6 weeks ago, the markets started getting really volatile, and we'd have those downswings, and there at the beginning, there'd be a big rally after a few days of these sell-offs, and then there'd be another subsequent sell-off. And we've been buying a little bit of puts, just hedging our portfolios a little bit on strength. I've been writing articles about why I am now a seller on rallies rather than a buyer on dips. I've been a buyer on dips for 7 years, the last 7 years, and I think about the last month or so, I've gotten a little more aggressive about trimming my portfolio. We sold some Facebook, which we've owned since the 20s. We sold some actually above 190. We sold some Twitter, I think around 35 recently. And we're not trying to catch the top on all of these. You know, we are revolution investing. We're long-term investing. I actually, I think there's opportunity in near-term sell-offs and in near-term rallies and spikes. But I'm not a day trader. I don't know anyone who makes money long-term day trading except for the guys inside of Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and the rest of the giant too-big-to-fail banks, which work with the government and literally will go 90 days per quarter without a day of losing on their trading treasuries. How's that happen, Piper? No corruption or collusion there at all. At any rate, those guys are not you, and you are not those guys, and we're not using government connections to trade. Be patient, but the point being, right now I am a little bit bearish about the near term. I have been since we started having this volatility, and I'm not in a rush to buy. If you don't own any stocks, I have a friend who's been wanting me to help him invest, and he's been reading Trading with Cody for the last, I don't know how long, and I sent him an email today saying, hey, this might be a good time to get your toe in the water on some of those names you've been thinking about. And I think that's true, but if you own them, there's no reason to get aggressively trying to buy more, time the bottom or something. I'll give you guys the 4 names that I mentioned to him that I would buy. That not necessarily that I would buy, but that I thought he maybe should look at buying. One of them is Tesla. That's his pick, actually, not mine. But I do like Tesla. I've thrown in the towel as being a bear on Tesla 200 points ago, and issued a mea culpa to my subscribers for not having caught that one. I should have ridden it from 30 to 300. We've had a bunch of names that we've ridden up tenfold, like Tesla should have been one of. But at any rate, Tesla he liked, and I said, it's down big lately because of overblown headline hype. And then 3 others Trading with Cody subscribers are very familiar with. And this is bonus for you, those of you who are not Trading with Cody subscribers. To get all of my positions and when I would personally be buying any of these stocks, go to tradingwithcody.com. But 3 other names I mentioned here: Verizon, Intel, and Amazon. Amazon down 5% today because Trump going after them, which really should be no surprise. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Now, we've seen Trump go after Time Warner because of CNN. If you read the Washington Post regularly, which I do, I read the New York Times, the New York Post, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, and several other things, but those 4 newspapers almost every day. And it's very anti-Trump. It's liberal. I mean, it's much more Democrat. I don't like the term liberal because I don't think Democrats are liberal, but it's much more Democrat, much more pro-Democrat side of the Republican-Democrat regime than it is Republican, for sure. And it's also very anti-Trump. And Jeff Bezos owns it. I mean, look, this is, you call it petty if you want. I'd probably call it petty. But Trump going after voices, owners, I guess there's not a direct connection. It's obsequious to get there, but he's going after the owners of major media companies in ways that he can. Welcome to democracy? And is that democracy?
Century politics.
It's not democracy, is it? It's politics. Because, media is supposed to be that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th check and balance. And these days, it's whether it's CNN or Washington Post or Fox News or Wall Street Journal, it's partisan. It's certainly not a check and balance, unfortunately. Stocks, markets, look, just be careful out there. Boy, and now NASDAQ's almost flat on the day. Dow's up 150. By the end of this call, let's see if this is held. Feet to fire, I would bet. Feet to fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. I should have the guitar out right now. I actually know that song. It's one of a few songs I know. But anyway, feet to fire, I would bet the markets are going to be down at the close. And even if they're not today, I still think the path of least resistance right now is downward with volatility and perhaps some sideways action with volatility. Well, it will be a down 300, up 400, down 400, up 200. We've seen that. As of the last few days, the bounce hasn't come. Today they're trying to. And now as I'm talking, the NASDAQ's down 50. When can you miss it? If you're a trader, you could buy Goldman right now because Goldman is probably printing money with this volatility, and they always print money with their treasury and bond trading stuff. So, any questions here on the conference call? Piper, see if anyone on the app would like to chime in. You guys on the call there?
Comment on Calix Incorporated, CALIX.
Yes, you just want a general comment, or did you have a specific question?
Well, it's trading at 6.68. I don't know if it was a time to look at that more seriously to buy.
I see it trading at 670 right now, and to go back, and this will underscore what we were saying earlier about wanting to have a long-term vision and not worrying about a quick trade or trying to time, especially a small cap like that. So, Calix is a recent buy of ours, and it's maybe up 10% from where we bought it, but I don't really care about that 10%. This I was actually talking with someone from a Trading with Cody subscriber who joined as a lifetime subscriber, so I spent 30 minutes on the phone with him yesterday talking about his portfolio and life and whatnot. Turns out he was an AT&T network guy for for many years. He's been at AT&T. And he talked about Calix. And he said, Cody, I know that you've written and we've seen that Calix is in trials with Verizon, which spends tens of billions of dollars a year on equipment and software services. And he says, but being in trial doesn't mean they're going to deploy this at any scale. And I said, I know that, and you should know that too, and I've written that. Look, the reason the stock's at $6, the reason it's a small cap, is because it hasn't succeeded yet. You should almost picture this one as another venture capital kind of investment, because it really is probably going to be a binary outcome. If Verizon deploys it, the Calix technology throughout their network, it's passive optical networking that Calix is deploying. Verizon is trialing right now in the trunk and in some metro service areas. And if they start deploying Calix at scale throughout their United States network, it will probably be worth $1 billion or $2 billion worth of revenue. But if Verizon does it, so would AT&T probably, or someone else in Europe, or some of the other, those carriers are a lot of group things. And if Verizon's doing it and getting a great return by deploying Calix technology and software, then probably a lot of others would too. And the stock could go up a bunch if that happens. But if Verizon doesn't really deploy it, or if Verizon deploys it but squeezes the heck out of Calix and doesn't let them make any money on anything, there's risk the stock doesn't go anywhere or it goes down, straight down from here. And frankly, this company has put all their marbles on, all their chips on this passive optical network platform that they're deploying in trial with Verizon and others. But if it works, it'll be great. And if it doesn't, the company will be in trouble. So,
appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions from people on the call and or on the app, please?
I can ask them a question.
Yes.
He's taking another one, so you'll have to hang on.
Did someone there on the call say they wanted to ask a question? Please go ahead.
Yes. I would like to know about excuse me, I'm surprised.
Are you still there? Hello? Oh, so that's such a bummer, so anticlimactic. He's like, I was going to ask you about the click, click, click. Anybody still on the call there? The call drop? I'm using Skype to be on that call. Well, that's a shame. Sorry,
I'll ask another question if nobody else is going to ask one.
Well, okay, so the call apparently the conference call is working. That guy just lost his connection. I hope he didn't fall into a pit.
My question is, NVIDIA is that a good? What's a good stock to buy now? How about it?
Yes, sir. And I recognize this as one of my favorite Trading with Cody subscribers, Joe Kennedy. One of our youngest Trading with Cody subscribers at 92 years old. How old are you, Joe?
91.
91. Sorry, I didn't mean to exaggerate. Didn't mean to add any years to that number. Joe, thanks for the question. And look, I've owned NVIDIA.
Cars. Cody, I'm really asking, what do you think of driverless cars?
Okay, great.
Is that in the future?
They are the future. So, NVIDIA's down right now. I've owned it since 30. I wouldn't be in a rush to buy it. It's still, it's only down $30 from its all-time highs, and it has a $134 billion market cap. It's gotten to be a pretty big position in my portfolio because it's gone up ninefold or something. So, they are, though, a big play on driverless, and that's the reason the stock's been down lately is because Uber had killed a pedestrian with a driverless car in Arizona a couple weeks ago. And NVIDIA was in those cars. There's a report out today. We'll find much more details out about all of this stuff. I don't believe the reports too much just yet, but this report said that Uber might have turned off some of the NVIDIA sensors. Maybe they were testing something by turning those sensors off. Okay, so let's talk driverless cars near term, long term. Near term, driverless cars, there is clearly a backlash right now happening. That will become political, as already. There are, you can hear the reporters on TV say things like, there's been 5 billion miles of driverless cars on our public roads already driven. Like, that's a bad thing. But it's pretty amazing, really, that there's been billions of driverless car miles and one death of a pedestrian. There have been other deaths. But longer term, driverless cars, I 100% believe in. I am writing a book right now with my partner Tim McCullough that is called The Driverless Car Revolution or something thereabouts. It will feature some stocks, but Tim has spent a lot of time outlining and researching the size of the driverless car market, how big it's going to be, how it's going to play out. And near term, certainly, I think it's a step back. There's going to be, it might be, it might push out the timeline even 3 to 5 years further than it otherwise would have been. But I still say 10 years from now, driver cars sales will be down 50-60% from where they are right now, and driverless car sales will be, and not just driverless car, but driverless bus, driverless train, driverless semis, all of that stuff will be growing exponentially in a secular growth phase. Did you have another question there that someone there that I think the guy who asked about Calyx earlier? Would you have any more coffee?
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm a new subscriber. I've only been on about 3 weeks now, and I'm looking at your post from February 20th with your personal portfolio, and I just didn't know with any of those stocks right now, if any of those you would target as being a buy this week necessarily more than the others.
Well, let's just run over, look at latest positions as I wrote them last time and see if I'd update any of them. Hold on. Boy, I need to do another latest positions update, don't I? Apple was a look. I like Twitter right here. If you don't own it, I would maybe start looking at buying some of that. Frankly, Solar Edge is up a bunch, from the teens where we were buying it, but I still think it's headed to 75, 80 soon and could be headed much higher as its earnings upside has been exponential. And like I said earlier, I like Verizon, Intel, and even Amazon right here. Those would probably be my favorite 3 that are in the portfolio, that if I had to buy something right here, right now in the portfolio, those 3 would probably be the ones I'd start with.
My son is at school in his financial class. They put in mock money, and I told him to invest in Intel, and he ended up winning the competition. So it worked out pretty well for him.
When was the competition started, and when did it finish?
I think they started about 3 weeks ago. It ran for like 2 weeks, and he ended up winning it. So
that's funny.
I don't know the exact date.
Those stock picking contests are actually like the worst examples ever to introduce high school kids to investing and the markets and being smart with their money. It's like, here, throw a dart at any stock, and if in 2 weeks it went up more than anybody else's, you win a blue ribbon. And I actually did. I won like a state of New Mexico stock picking contest in 8th grade because I did this. Like, I bought Nike. Like, and Air Jordan came out, and Nike went. Like it was at the beginning. I think it was at the beginning of the school year, and I put everything I had in Nike. And then at the end of the school year, Nike had gone up like 4 times because Air Jordans had sold like hotcakes more than anybody expected, and I won the stock picking contest. And at any rate, I congratulations to your son, and I love the fact that it was a boring, stale, old technology company like Intel that won it for him instead of, Snapchat, Facebook, something cool and hip. NVIDIA, Tesla. So, yeah, don't disagree though with me about doing a stock picking contest in a school for 2 weeks is actually a bad lesson.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that teacher's not like your sister or your wife or something, but I just put my foot in my mouth. But, anyway, see if anybody on the app wants to ask a question. Anybody else on the conference call want to ask a question? I haven't even gotten to the chat room. It's gotten a word. I have not gotten to the chat room. It is. All right, here we go. Questions. What do you think about BlackBerry after earnings, Cody? Nibble some more now? Did someone pop on?
Yeah.
Oh, ask it.
D. Terry, Portales, New Mexico.
All right. Damone. See if it works.
I don't see him anywhere.
Try it again. If and when he comes on, I'll interrupt myself. What do you think about BlackBerry earnings after Cody? After Cody earnings? Nibble some now? More? Yeah, I mean, look, BlackBerry's another one that I think longer term could really work out here. I don't know about near term. The problem has been with BlackBerry, and it is again this one, is, revenues are still shrinking year over year. It's down like 20% this quarter year over year. It was up $5 million quarter over quarter, and the last 2 or 3 quarters it's been up every quarter. And with BlackBerry focusing on software and security for Android devices and apps and networks for enterprises, their margins should grow really nicely. And if they can grow that revenue faster than what they are right now, that stock could have some upside. But this isn't good enough. They need to be doing 20-30% revenue growth year over year, starting in the next 6 months to 9 months, or the stock will be back at 10 or even 8. If they really do get this stuff going, if they can catch some traction, if they can become what I hope, a de facto standard in security for enterprises and Android devices and stuff, stock could really do well from here. But there's lack of evidence that that is going to be the case at this moment. So if you don't own any BlackBerry, maybe nibble a little bit, give yourself room to buy a little bit more. But I'm not making it a big position. I'm not betting the farm on Research in Motion, which was a much better name than BlackBerry, since they're no longer selling BlackBerry devices, manufacturing BlackBerry devices anyway, or focused on BlackBerry devices. Remember when BlackBerry was its own operating system? Longtime trading with Cody subscribers know we shorted BlackBerry at 100 Research in Motion at the time, because it was clear that Android and iPhone were going to win, and there was not room for BlackBerry in the mobile wars. See if anybody's on there. Nothing? What happened to Damon?
I don't know what happened. It was D. Terry, and I'm not sure, but there's not giving me an option right now to invite users in.
Are we even recording? Are we even live?
We're live.
Well, why can't you invite users if we're live?
Ever since I selected him, hasn't given me the option to invite people.
Well, that is just about disappointing. All right, well, At least it's on the app. We're getting the live Q&A streaming. Anybody in the conference call want to ask one more question, or I'll keep going to the chat room here? Sorry about the live stream interactivity. So looking forward to doing that today. But my assistant Piper failed.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you got for me?
How about Alphabet? Alphabet. Is
Yeah,
that any
Google,
good?
love Goog. It's another great, it actually is the leader in driverless, their Waymo division. But I don't know. I've owned Google since its IPO, and I've seen cycles 6 months, a year at a time where it just sort of gets in the crosshairs of the regulators and falls out of favor a little bit with traders and investors. And my spider sense sort of telling me near term, 6 months, a year, maybe that Google might not be the best performing stock of our portfolio. I'm not going to go sell it. It's still one of my largest positions. I have trimmed some on occasion recently, but I'd rather buy Amazon than Google, and I've been saying that for the last year. Relative, if I had to pick one of those two, I'd probably pick Amazon. But I own them both. Oh, Piper, guess what the market's doing? It was down, NASDAQ was down 50 last time I looked. What do you think? I haven't looked.
I think it went up 5.
So you think it's up 30, it's down 35, 45. That'd be boring. I think this thing's way too volatile. I'm betting it's, at this moment, down 10, but by the end of the market, it's down 90. Go trade it, people. Trade it. Buy, sell, buy, buy. I hit the wrong button. Down 40. You were correct, Piper.
It's close.
That's full credit, full credit. Goldman Sachs, they would have made some money if they had known it was flat for the next 10 minutes. Yeah. All right. Theoretically, if you could time travel just 10 minutes one time into the past, you should be able to find somewhere, some way to bet on leverage everything in some sort of markets, at the casino, at the stock market, at somewhere at the Bitcoin market, and make billions off of $100 in 10 minutes. If you knew for sure the market would be flat for the next 10 minutes, I don't know if you could make 100 into a billion, but you could make it something.
Theoretically, if time travel exists in the future, then it exists right now, huh?
It's only a deja vu of a deja vu if it's a deja vu of a deja vu. Because the minute you go, hey, this is a deja vu, if the last time you had the deja vu and you didn't say, hey, this is a deja vu, then the deja vu is over at that second. Because it's no longer happened in the past.
Pretty much comes a deja vu.
Puns, Piper, puns. Come on. Yeah, throw me a ball. Let's stop with the puns. Dude, there's water in there. Start a fire. Any questions left on the conference call? Piper, you still can't invite people using my interactive app?
It's mad at me. It doesn't like me.
Let's see that one. I'm going to hit the camera. Still. There we go. Shit. Oops. There we go. Close enough. I actually set a camera up there one day to film playing ping pong, and then I was like, I wonder if I could. And one shot. I've got it on tape. People might think it's edited, though. Might not think it was one shot.
Well, I am your personal assistant.
And I could have you edit it. Market is down 45, Piper. On the nose, you were. Chat room. This would not pass at Sirius XM on the Howard Stern Show. Actually, it probably would. That guy will ramble on about some pointless stuff in his life, and I'll listen to it for no reason. Okay. So there's a question. So Cody, when they finally come for Amazon, does that mean we are getting close to a near-term bottom? Short answer, no. It does not mean that. Maybe closer, but look, those names: Amazon, Google, Facebook, Nvidia, Tesla. Those names have been on fire for years and months. And a 10%, 20% pullback doesn't even take you back to where you were 6 months ago. Go look at a NASDAQ chart for just 1 year. We're still. I should have been over at the whiteboard, Viper. Could have drawn this up. We're still very high. App keeps crashing for me. Great. Crashing here too, Cody. Are you guys on iPhone or Android? Put it in the chat room, please. Cody, can you comment on Verizon and Facebook? I mentioned earlier Verizon. I think it's goodbye here. Facebook. Look, yeah, I mean, I wrote yesterday that I think it's finally closer to a bottom. The last 3 weeks I've been saying, look, man, I think this thing is a lot of headline risk and multiple risk contraction here, and even some earnings risk. So I wouldn't rush in to buy Facebook. Another bearish anecdote on Facebook is that just like last week, right after it was down, people in the Train with Cody chat room were like, Cody, should we buy Facebook? I'm like, nah, slow down. Not until you guys aren't asking me if we should buy Facebook. Should we probably buy it? I got a text this morning from a friend of mine who runs a construction company, and the question was, should we be buying stocks like Facebook that are down a bunch? Well, they're down. And maybe some of them, I said, yeah, right, but not necessarily Facebook. If you don't own any, maybe get a 1/3 position and get started. I think that's probably a good idea, but if you own it, I wouldn't be trying to trade into it right now. Cody, just to confirm, we have not accumulated full positions in either Calix or Verizon, correct? If so, are you still planning on adding? I don't, yeah, Verizon, I think I've been meaning to buy a couple, 3 times here, and I think I only bought it once or twice. I'd really like to buy some more Verizon. I'd like to make it a larger position. Calix is never going to be a very big position for me, like I've talked about. It's very risky, binary kind of outcome here, and I'm not going to risk a bunch of money on that kind of a setup. But I've thrown in a little bit of capital at Calix. I might do one more small tranche if it got down. But yeah, I do need to buy more Verizon. Cody, in the past you have mentioned MongoDB, Mongo Database. Any update on that? It's at an all-time high. Man, why didn't we buy it? King told me that one was a good one. Shout out to King, CTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO, King, CTO. One song by BTO, Piper. What do you got for me?
Who?
Bachman Turner Overdrive. Didn't they sing one of those? You'll know it. Alexa, play Bachman Turner Overdrive from Spotify. If you ask Alexa to play a band without saying Spotify, it'll just randomly shuffle it. If you ask them to play it on Spotify, it starts with almost always their most popular song on Spotify, and then like 3 or 4 of their most popular songs. And then Spotify gets in this wacky, I don't know, we get on like some random album that you don't even want to listen to, and they'll just keep playing songs from that. So you know this crap.
Yeah, I know this.
You don't love this stuff though. This is not your music. You love something a little more soulful.
I don't know this cover.
That'll be my theme song today. Because, baby, it's a commercial theme song. You know what drives me crazy is you'll see the song.
It's like you're buying a car.
Yes, it's been on so many car commercials. And now when I hear Back in Black by AC/DC, I think of Walmart. And then then Black in Black was on another mainstream corporation commercial. I don't have a good update for you on MongoDB. I need to take a fresh look at it, but it's run so much, and I'm not in the mood to be chasing a bunch of tech stocks and adding to them to the portfolio, but I'm always willing to buy a revolutionary company that I think is in secular growth mode, so I'll check out MongoDB. You have a question there on the call?
No question right now.
Okay. Sorry, Cody, if you've covered it already. I'm having app crash issues, darn it. Regarding the old block and chain. Hey, that's funny, the old block and chain. That'd be a good name for a website, theoldblockandchain.com, but it's already taken. You mentioned you may be dipping your toe into some cryptos in the near future. Has the recent Bitcoin smackdown delayed this nibbling process? No, and look, let's just talk about the playbook. I fully expect that Bitcoin is going down to 1,000 or lower before it finishes bottoming in the next weeks and months or even year or two. I think that 98% of the cryptocurrencies that you see listed on coinmarketcap.com are going to zero before this crash is over. But I do believe that there are a handful of cryptocurrencies that will change the world. And I want to own a few of those. And I'm researching them, and I've been doing a lot of homework on it, and I've got some names that I'm ready to buy, figuring out how to buy some of them. I'm not in any rush. I do think I might put Alexa, stop! I might put a tiny toe in the water and just get a couple of them bought in a very small way, and then in coming months add to that. And then at some point, when nobody wants to talk about cryptocurrencies, when people mock the concept of cryptocurrencies again, when people aren't asking me if they should buy cryptocurrencies, when the pain that so many cryptocurrency traders are feeling right now, and I'm getting emails and messages from friends and strangers who are talking about the pain they're feeling and the losses that they're experiencing trading cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin right now. It's nothing yet. I mean, for a crash to truly play out, if this thing's going to crash, we're talking 90%, 95% crash from 20,000 to 1,000 or lower. And we're talking the guys who thought that they could just even get back to even at 6,000 when Bitcoin hits 10,000. Or then just hoping they can just get that 25% loss if it would get back to 8,000. And then they're just hoping to just cut it in half if it would bounce to 5,000. And then they puke it at 800. And then eventually you and I will start in there. Let's start nibbling some more aggressively here. These names that we think are really going to change the world. But I think there'll be a whole lot more pain, and I couldn't care less. No, the buying the cryptocurrencies I want to buy has nothing to do with Bitcoin's action. Near term, I expect Bitcoin's going much lower. Gambler15. What kind of a username is that on Trading with Cody, for crying out loud? Hope that's ironic. Isn't it ironic that the song, Isn't It Ironic, doesn't have a single thing of irony in it? It is a stupid, I love that song every time it comes on, but I get so annoyed. I always have since I was like 20 and that thing came out. I like that One Hand in My Pocket song by her even better. Yeah. Alanis Morissette. Any last questions? Boy, she had a moment in time, captured the zeitgeist, and just delivered with I mean, she gave it everything in that one album. It's incredible. Props. All right. I'm hungry. Any other questions? I'm sure there are. Let me make sure there's...
Yeah, Cody, I do have one
All
question.
right. Darn it. I was going to hang up.
It's a quick one. So I think I'm right in understanding that you've just bought one tranche of WDC so far?
Correct.
And, okay.
Yeah, sort of like Verizon. It's another one. I should buy more. I mean, Verizon got down again recently, like 46, and I just like a deer in the headlights. I'm like, oh, I'll buy it. I should buy it. And then, like, I didn't. WDC, look, Micron talked a little bit negative about, Micron reported earnings. They said DRAM wasn't pricing as well as they liked. So Western Digital took a pretty big 10% hit that day, but it's still up like 10% from where we bought it. And I'm not in a rush to add another tranche, but yeah, I might buy a smaller tranche on WDC rather soon.
And Calix, is that just one tranche also you purchased?
Yes, I did answer that question earlier. You must have missed it.
I jumped in late, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. At least you got in. I appreciate all of you, dear Trading with Cody subscribers, and hangers-ons. Kidding.
Friends and family.
Friends and family. Hi, Cody. I have a newbie question about options. This is an emailed question from Trading with Cody subscriber. I know how options work, and I understand how to buy and sell options. I also understand that you use options, that maybe means I personally use options as insurance against a downturn in the stocks that we own. However, I could never figure out how much options I should buy. My question is this. Is there some kind of rule of thumb that we should use on the amount of options we should purchase for, quote, insurance purpose? For example, say I own $10,000 worth of Cody recommended stocks. How much put options should I purchase? Is it 10% of $10,000? Is some kind of spread used? The answer, like most things with our stocks and options and our money and our portfolio and our lives in general, frankly, is there is no science. I don't have a set answer for this stuff. It's more art than science in some ways, but it also just depends on so many factors like your age, how much money you have in stocks versus how much money you have in your trust fund or in your checking account, or how much upward mobility you have, how much inheritance you're going to get, how much inheritance you're trying to leave for your kids, how many new bills you've got. The example I often use is my own example of risk tolerance, and I'll come back to this question about how much put options to own, but it really does come back to like this concept that I talk about all the time with Ameris. When I was a TV hedge fund manager, rock star, single guy in New York City, freewheeling, spending, clothes, working, flying, travel. Everything was an investment. It was networking. I'm in New York City hustling. I now live in New Mexico, and I got a medically fragile daughter, and I'm very much more cautious about spending and investing and networking. I also don't need to network as much as I used to because I'm not trying to do that stuff for a living. But point being, it's, my lifestyle has changed. My income profile has changed. My risk profile has changed. All of that stuff comes into factor when you're trying to figure out how to balance your portfolio, how much insurance you should be putting in your portfolio. I don't like the term insurance. I would call it a hedge. How much hedge to put on your portfolio. When you're trying to figure out how many options to buy. Let's say I decided the market was really, really likely to crash 20% in the next 2 weeks. And I'm like, dude, and actually you can go back, you can Google Cody Willard, something on YouTube. There's a video, I'll send it out, try to find the link, of me freaking out when the bailouts were about to happen and the government had decided they were going to bail out. And I'm like, I've lost faith in capitalism in my country, and you should too. This market's gone much lower. And it was like at 11,000, the Dow, and it dropped to 6,000 there in like the next week or two. Even if that happened, I'm not sure I still would go out and buy a bunch of options. But I'm saying, let's just say, I really got bearish, and I thought we should sell most of our stocks. We should really go to cash and maybe even buy some put options to try to capture some downside, not just even as a hedge. Then you'd want to do more. You'd want to go buy more options. But like right now where I'm just like, look, we've had a heck of a run. We've got so many stocks that are up so much. We need to raise some cash, sell some, trim some down. Why don't we even buy some put options? Look, if you were the Cody Willard guy, TV star, hedge fund, single guy in New York City, again, I don't know what the exact percent would be, but you'd be aggressive doing that maybe 3%, 5% in put options. If you're this guy, it's less than 1%. You're just hedging a little bit, maybe 1%. It's all relative. There is no good answer for you. And some of you guys, if it was a $10,000 portfolio, I would tell you don't buy a put option, just go sell some more and raise some more cash. We're talking if you've got a big stock portfolio, maybe buy some puts sometimes to hedge it a little bit. Otherwise, like I tell you guys, just trim, raise some cash, be defensive while you can. You don't have to go buy puts. Even if I am, just be a little more defensive. $12:51. We've been going for 49 minutes. Any other questions? I hope not. I'm going to hang up if there's one on Skype. Go ahead. I'm just kidding. If you guys have one more question, hop on here. Piper can't figure out how to invite people. All right, I guess I thought I had another question in the email or two, but I'll probably find it later and I have to write the guy back individually, and the rest of you guys will miss it. Piper, we don't have a ball in here, do we? Golf club? All right. That's it. Throw it up in there, I'll hit.
It's good to let it play.
It's your boss in the head.
Every personal assistant should get to play this with their boss.
All right, folks. That's a wrap. Peace, love, and happiness. Be careful out there. The stock market is, at this moment, only down 28. NASDAQ, I mean. Crazy volatility even with that intraday here. Peace, love, happiness. Bye.